Hello and welcome. My name is Tony Fackery to my video blog. Today's topic is don't believe everything you think. I've written a blog post about this video and I thought I'd want to talk a little bit more about some of the points that were mentioned in there since it's received a number of shares and also a number of people have contacted me asking for some insight and explanations. Okay, so here we go. Don't believe everything you think. Firstly, thoughts come and go all the time. Thoughts enter your mind and they leave. It's much like waves in the ocean. They come into the shoreline and then they recede. To look at the waves coming in and to label them and to suggest that this is typical of what the ocean currents are like would be remiss of us. And so therefore thoughts are much the same. There is no permanency to your thoughts. They come and go much like ocean waves, the ocean tides coming into the shoreline. So learn to become less attached, less identified with the thoughts. But I'm going to give you some more clues, some more examples on how to navigate your thoughts. Okay, point 2. It's the meaning that we attach to the thoughts which give them power, not the thought itself. So evidently we have 60 to 70, 80,000 thoughts a day. And so therefore, every now and again, a thought or thoughts or theme of thoughts will pop up. And we find that the meaning that we attach to these thoughts determine the emotions that we feel, determine the dialogue that we have with others, the interactions that we have with the world, the way in which reality tends to manifest itself. So it's the meaning, remember, not the thought itself, the meaning that we attach to the thought. The other thing I've also found is that the mind can be overstimulated at times, and you've probably felt this. And guess what? It happens when you're most tired. And the thoughts just keep going incessantly. They just keep churning. And I call them the monkey mind because much like taming a monkey, it becomes increasingly difficult. So when the thoughts become overstimulated, it's normally when you're tired. So for me personally, it happens at around about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and that lull period, and also right before bed. So for me personally, at around 3 or 4 o'clock, a good way to interject is to read and get into a relaxed state. Move my body into a parasympathetic state, and that is rest and relax. And similarly in the evening, right before bed, something relaxing like reading or meditation will normally help. And listen, it doesn't need to be half an hour. We're not talking here about some sort of spiritual meditation. We're talking here about the power and the ability to focus your mind. Focus your mind for 5 minutes. Stretch that out to 8. Stretch it out to 10. So talking about focusing the mind is what's important with meditation. Point 3, your thoughts do not define you. You are not your thoughts. You are the receiver of your thoughts. And if we were to think that we are our thoughts, that's much like saying that a radio that plays a certain radio station is the radio station. And it's not. What we see is that the radio is the receiver of various stations on AM, on FM. And so the frequency at which the radio transmits or receives the signals is what our thoughts may be akin to. We are receiving thoughts depending on our AM or FM modulation, and the way that we interpret our thoughts and assign meaning to the thoughts is the way in which we interact with the world and the way in which these thoughts become reality. So here's a really good point that I picked up from a book by the name of Mindsight, and the author is Daniel Siegel, a fantastic book. He talks about a concept which is called name and tame. And so what he suggests by name and tame is that as your thoughts begin to arise, be aware of what type of thoughts you're having. So you might tame the thought disempowering, toxic, negative, unwanted. And as those thoughts arise, and let me just suggest that you needn't do this all the time, but it might be a process initially for a few days or even a few weeks until you identify the types of thoughts that you predominantly entertain. So Name and Tame suggests that you name the types of thoughts that you're having and only use it for the disempowering thoughts. Obviously, if you're having positive thoughts, you're on a good thing. So only for the disempowering thoughts. Even label the thoughts. You might say sadness. You might use fear, anxiety, any type of thought that arises, and perhaps even jot them down. Learn to see what type of thoughts you entertain in an 8-hour period and even jot those down. So become acquainted with the theme of your thoughts. What packet of thoughts do you have? For example, on a Monday, what type of thoughts do you have? Does it coincide with going to work or going to school or any type of other venture? Note your thoughts on a Friday. How do you feel? Note your thoughts on a Saturday or even a Sunday. And you see that the thoughts have a packet or a themed storyline to them. And then you're able to become aware. The reason that we follow our thoughts is to become aware. Once we are aware, then those thoughts have no deeper significance on us in terms of an emotional context. They cannot drive our emotions, they cannot drive our physiology, because we are not attaching a meaning to them anymore, because we are aware. So get to know your thought constitution, who you are, what type of thoughts you entertain, why you entertain those thoughts. Is it as a result of the outside world? Are you reacting to external stimuli? Are people triggering your thought process? I know the most defeatist way that people always think or suggest is that he or she made me do it. Guys, no one has the power over you except yourself. You have the power to choose your own thoughts by becoming aware and using these points in your everyday life. Thank you so much for following me on this video blog today. I know that there was so much information contained in that very short bit. I'm always mindful of trying to get it into a small amount, 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you once again for continuing to subscribe. My name is Tony Fackery. Thank you once again.